What's up, everybody? Check. What's up, everybody? Eh. Well, let me pull this a little closer, just a little bit. Well, I don't know if you can see, but I am very swollen. I had a tooth infection, an infection under the tooth. Man, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm on pain meds as well as antibiotics. I haven't slept good. The other night I was going to go to the hospital, not last night, the night before. My blood pressure hit 169 over 115. But I got this mic in, and I'm gonna do a video. This video is gonna be about vintage guitars, but I just got this from India, 5-core. And I gotta let you hear this. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2. Check. Now I EQ'd this mic exactly the same. It's a $50 mic. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2. Check. This mic was $10. Someone's calling. This mic was $10. Let's see. Hey, what's up, man?
Not a whole lot. How you feeling?
Pretty shitty. Can I call you back in a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'm on my way home. I'm gonna go to Publix and then home.
All right, man.
All right, bud. Later.
So, see? Sometimes real friends help. Check 1 2. I don't know if should I use this? I guess we could use it, see how it is. I don't know. Someone else is calling. Busy. Now let's take it off. I use it in the guitar video. Let's put it up here. So check 1 2, check. Check 1 2, check, check. So I'll turn the mic up a little bit, because that way I don't have to speak so hard. Check, check, check 1 2. So anyway, I got another video account with some beginner and advanced lesson stuff in there. Some licks for the advanced guys and the demented way that I think, and some scale stuff and scales for the beginner stuff. And then I explained some of the Van Halen stuff. Someone said that I butchered it. I don't think I butchered the Eruption, but by the way, in Eruption, part 1, go into the comment section. I put a link to a video of Eddie Van Halen playing Eruption live in 1978. So 77, 78 is around when Van Halen 1 came out. Van Halen 2 was 79. He was doing Eruption way different than on the studio album. And a part of that was with Spanish Fly. So one of the comments was, oh, it was never edited. Well, take it for what you want. That's what I was told by him himself. And this was years later, probably in mid 80s. And then I find the video with him playing it that way. Oh, my buddy CJ. And I'm going to make some phone calls in a little bit. But let's go into, this has to do with a video I just saw by Gus from Voxu, Voyxu. And he makes a lot of valid points on the Burst Believer stuff. But I'm going to go into something a little deeper than just a 59 Les Paul. You are not going to get vintage tone through just a 59 into a Fender or an old Plexi. You're not going to get that sound. You're not going to get the sound from 1959 through that. And you're probably like, what the hell are you talking about? I hope that didn't open. Well, I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible because I don't want to get deep into this. But the number one reason is right here. You're like, strings? Yeah. Compared to modern guitar strings, old strings from the 50s would likely have noticeable duller sound, be less responsive to playing, and potentially have a shorter lifespan due to different manufacturing techniques and keyword materials. Often featuring a higher nickel content. Now you guys know that I told you about my 58 and why I sent it and why the bridges and the tailpiece was all bow. Nickel, it's softer. Could lead to quicker corrosion and a warmer, less bright sound. Additionally, older strings might have been thicker and less consistent in gauge. Material. You can AI 1950 strings versus modern. Older strings had a higher proportion of nickel in the winding, creating a warmer, mellower tone compared to the more balanced nickel steel alloys used today. Like a speaker being half the battle, so were the strings. So we'll use Mr. Bukovac as our guinea pig example. You didn't mention these. And without the 1950 strings, you will never achieve that holy grail sound. Fact. It's right here. Right there. Black and white. Why? And another thing with strings. They had no coating on them. So now when you hit metal against metal on the fret, it has a different sound. And with them being non-coated, they corroded and have less life, and they had more nickel. They had more nickel in the fret, so that nickel on the nickel fret, if you refret your guitar, you lose the holy grail sound. Sorry, Mr. Bonamassa, no. When you refret it, it's not the same. The alloys are not the same as those old frets. Bingo, bango, end of discussion. Anything else is just flat out BS. Strings. Unless you have those 1950 strings on all your guitars, bull. Doesn't work that way. 1950s had certain strings. Fact. Fact. Number 2. Guitar cables were made very cheaply. Very, very cheap. They broke all the time and snapped. Didn't they? That's why they started doing the curly ones, so they would stretch and you wouldn't break them as easy. Did you guys know that? Non-shielded. More nickel. Different sound. And with the coating on the strings, they vibrate against the magnets different because they're shielded with a coating. Shielded keeps out sound. Good and bad, actually, believe it or not. Now let's take a look at a $10,000 mic. Now this is all common sense logic and reasoning. This ain't no rocket science. $10,000 mic, right? So look at the inside of that. Look how thick the wall is, right? That's copper, those 3 prongs. Those 3 prongs are on tubes. What are they using today? Does that look the same? Absolutely not. So unless you've got actual vintage tubes in there, made from the old manufacturers, just like those old pots in the 59, guess what? You will never, ever achieve that original vintage sound. Ever, ever, ever. End of discussion. So now you're looking at tubes, the glass of the tubes, the original manufacturer of the tubes, and what else? Strings. And guitar cables. Myth, flat out, totally busted. You will never achieve that sound. Now, why are the 59s so valuable? Because guitar companies and connoisseurs made it so valuable. But here's the fact of the reality. Fender kicked the shit out of Gibson's ass. Gibson couldn't sell 59s or 50s Les Pauls. Why? The bands, the Drifters, the Grifters, the Everly Brothers, the Bill Haley, this, that, the Commodores, they weren't using Les Pauls. There were no celebrities. The closest thing you had was Chuck Berry, and it wasn't a Les Paul he was using. Common sense, logic, reasoning. So they stopped making them because no one was buying them. How much was a 1959 Les Paul in 1959? Do you guys know? About $260 before tax. $260 before tax. Really? Yeah. And they couldn't give that away. So is it a play? Is it another Ponzi scheme based on influencers like Gibson and Sam Ash and Guitar Center and this guy and this collector and Ed Roman and this guy? And of course it is. A $260 guitar is not worth $550,000. No. And especially with all the problems they had. The sound issues, the cavity backs in them weren't sealed. They weren't painted with shielding. The pots always broke. The wiring was bad. There were so many issues. The bridges and tailpiece would bow. The frets dented easy. So what's it tell you? Newer Gibsons are made 1,000 times better than they were in the 50s, or they would go back to making them like they were. Shit. Now I'm going to have to post in my comments that I used bad language. So there you go. Truth. Look it up. Look up how much a 59 actually cost in 1959. I think it was $253 or $63, something like that. I don't really remember. So there's the truth about vintage guitars. Number one, Fender was kicking Gibson's butt. Number two, they couldn't sell them. The guitar that you were talking about that was $550,000, guess what? It was $260 on average back then. So why isn't this guitar right here? This is a vintage guitar. That's number 12 out of 30. Why isn't this? That's all 24 karat gold. This is handmade. No machines. Handmade. Hand carved. Hand done. It's a beast. Why isn't that worth 500 grand? Well, because somebody that owns one at Forbes magazine isn't pushing it in an article like the fake Beyonce Grammy crap. Album of the year. Yeah. How many streams did Jay-Z buy? How many of this did he buy? How many campaigns or donations did he make to the people on the committee that checks off the box? Really? Yeah, and next year, Alan Jackson's going to win Rock Artist of the Year. Money will buy you whatever you want. And those guys with money can grease people to write articles to boost up certain things. It's called marketing. $260 guitar worth 550 grand. Why? And I read an article not long ago. I think, was it in 2010, they found 200 bursts, but yet only 147 of them are listed with Gibson. They found it in a storage locker or something. I don't remember the whole story on that. But anyway, I got some stuff coming up. Let's see. Let me see. No, I'll do it in I'm gonna put out a video with the advanced licks and beginner lessons. And I'm going to show you some nuances that I do different than the Van Halen thing since I ruined it. I even say in the beginning of this is what I don't understand. Like, do people comprehend what I put out there? The beginning of the video, I said, this is the way I play it. Why? I don't know. It's the way I played it. Did I learn it note for note when I was a kid? Absolutely. Over the years, I changed it, like, probably, like, not as drastically as Eddie, but anyway, we'll get into all that over there. I hope this helps with the BS of the burst buster believer. I don't even know what you call it. What is it called? Burst believer? This goes to help explain. They were made crappy. Things are made. And you know what's funny? I'll tell you the funny part about it. Here's the funny part. The guys that are telling you that the new guitars aren't as good as the old ones, or the guys using the new phones instead of the old ones. They're the ones recording their videos on the new phones and the new iPads and not the old ones. They're the guys driving the new cars instead of the old ones. And if they buy an old car, like our friend, it's completely redone, isn't it? It's not all original. Why? Because the all original sucked. I've owned Roadrunners to 77 Vets to all kinds of old cars. I got an old car out there now that won't start. My IROC. Something wrong. It wants to turn over. I gotta get somebody to look at it now. So, there you go. Is older better? Only when it comes to wisdom. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed the video.